I love Rockshox, but I don't really love the new generation suspension that they have, so it might be time to try something new. So before we get into the new goodies, let me explain why I'm moving away from Rockshox. A few years ago, I was faced with the decision: adopt the standards of Shimano and Fox, or go with Rockshox and SRAM, and I went with the latter because as a home mechanic, man, they make this stuff so easy to work on. With just a cassette tool and some Allen keys, you can take apart the entire fork, then you can service the damper without needing a nitrogen charge machine. Then the cassettes are all one piece, the derailleurs are super easy to set up, and I really grew to love the feel of Rockshox suspension and how easy it was to set up. That was until I got this new generation Zeb with the Charger 3.1 damper. This fork's damper feels like it's not really good at absorbing bumps. It almost feels like stiff in a sense. And I took apart the fork and found that the bushings are pretty tight. So I burnished those and that seemed to help, but I still don't like the feel of the fork. Then my Zeb's compression dials feels like they basically do nothing. I can turn both of these dials maxed out in either direction and I don't feel any changes with the ride quality, which is a bummer because I usually run quite a bit of low speed compression to firm up the suspension for jumping and avoid suspension dive while braking. So did they make the range of adjustments super narrow, or is my fork a lemon that needs to be warrantied? But I read all the comments from you guys, I read forums, I read Reddit, and I'm not the only one that isn't too thrilled with how this new generation Rockshox suspension feels, and those reasons are enough for me to break my allegiance with the brand and see what else is out there. So the plan today is to upgrade my base model Santa Cruz Bronson. It came with a Lyric fork with a Rush RC damper, and it's a pretty decent fork after I got it tuned with the volume token. Then the rear shock is a Fox DPS that's been consistently losing air pressure, and someone said to replace the valve core, some said to warranty it, but the plan has always been to fully upgrade this Bronson. So I got this, a Fox 36 with 160 millimeters travel. This is the newest model with the latest and greatest Grip X2 damper that I got on sale from the Losco for $861. Then for the rear shock, I listened to what everyone had to say and I took a chance and went with a coil. Fox DHX2 that was on sale for $509. I have no affiliation or communication with Fox. I bought these with my own money from the Losco, and they're running crazy sales right now on suspension, and I'll have a link in the description, and you can use my code for an extra 10% off non-sale items. But everyone said that this Bronson needs a coil, that it'll feel better, it'll track the ground better, but I still get a bit nervous buying these because you just can't add and remove air pressure to dial it in. You gotta buy a whole different spring, and that can get expensive, and I just hope that the spring calculator was correct. But you know, both of these shocks feel pretty heavy, so let me pull off that stock suspension and see how much weight I'm adding with this. Man, this is weird. Did I like split the bearing open, or is this an unsealed headset on a $5,000 Santa Cruz? I don't know, let me know in the comments, but let's go ahead and weigh both the new and the old suspension. 2,055 grams. 2,380 grams, wow. 305 grams. 530 grams. Wow, this is crazy. So I went with a Fox 36 instead of a 38 because I wanted a little bit more flex for this already stiff frame, and the 36 is lighter than the 38. It's supposed to be 2,100 grams, but this one is 2,380 grams, and that's when I saw this. This is an EMTB optimized Fox 36, and I totally ordered this one by accident. So man, I guess this is a public service announcement to pay attention when you're ordering parts late at night. But reading online, it says that this E-optimized version has a robust chassis, whatever that means, and it's for heavier bikes and riders. So that adds nearly 300 grams, but man, I'm just gonna install it anyway because I am hyped to try this new suspension on this bike. This Fox 36 comes with one of two dampers. You got the Grip X or the Grip X2. And the Grip X is like an updated version of the Fit 4 damper, so it has less adjustments and it's like 120 grams lighter. But man, this Bronson is already such an amazing climber, and I'm looking for a better feel downhill, so I went with a gravity focused Grip X2 damper that has way more adjustments, high and low speed compression and high and low speed rebound. This damper is massive with a 24mm base valve and a gigantic shim stack, so I'm pretty optimistic that this fork will be ultra sensitive and plush. But I also am a little bit worried that this added weight is going to take away from how good this bike climbs and pedals. With my new suspension order, I threw in this Fox XL fender that I got for $22.50 with my coupon code. It's almost winter here in Bentonville, and I love riding here this time of year. Way better than summer riding. I love riding the wet dirt. The trail changes from day to day, and it's much better than a dry, loose, and crumbled trail in the summer. As a guy who wrenches on my own suspension, I really like how Rockshox does it, where you can take off the air top cap and even the damper with a cassette tool, but Fox does not do that. So if I wanted to check how many air tokens I have in here, well, I wouldn't be able to without a special non-chamfered socket. So I bit the bullet and I bought this, a 32mm socket, non-chamfered, and it's good for the Fox 36, 38, and 40. So I should officially have the full set now for the complete Fox lineup. It came with 3 air tokens. Is that too many? Let me know in the comments. This rear shock already gave me a headache. When it came to getting the spring, I didn't know what spring rate I needed. So on the Lost Codes website, they have a text section with a spring calculator. Enter all your info and it says I need a 506 pound spring. We'll round that down to 500. Then I wanted to go with a super light spring from Fox to help with the weight penalty. I clicked the drop down menu and my eyes basically like bugged out of my head. There was like a million options with all sorts of numbers that I don't even recognize. So I went back to the text section and found my size shock, scrolled down some more, and I found various different 500-pound springs that can fit this shock, and I got one ordered. And all that is so foreign to me, and if I mess up interpreting this data, well, I've just wasted $130 on this spring. And yeah, I could have gone with a $30 steel spring, but this super light saves me like 100 grams, which I need because I don't want to turn this bike into a tank. I also use the Lost Codes database for mounting hardware sizes. I could have used the old ones off of the DPS, but I didn't really feel like it. But when installing this, I remembered Mike's awesome tip.
Nipples. The term that we use here in the shop is nips out.
I remember him saying nips out in regards to that little washer from 3 years ago. It just stuck with me. Also, it's crazy. Santa Cruz requires these shock bolts to be torqued to a whopping 20 Newton meters. And I was worried I was going to strip out these bolts. I wasn't so sure about the orange coil, but now that it's installed, I'm liking it, dude. What do you think? I had someone ask if the suspension will be tuned for the Bronson. And the answer is no, but I went on Santa Cruz's website and they have a suspension setup section with some recommendations on where to start, which I'm definitely gonna need with all these adjustments. And before I head out to go ride, a quick update on the brakes. Thanks to everyone's feedback, it turns out the stock resin pads are probably the culprit for mediocre braking performance. And it turns out TRP pads are the same as Shimano, and I just happen to have some MTX red pads on hand that I got from a subscriber, Nick Kendall, a few years ago, so we'll see if the brakes are any better. But with that, the bike is good to go, and I rode around on the street, and man, it feels like a completely different bike. So different that I think I'm gonna have to go somewhere else to test out the new suspension. Man, this bike is looking so good, but now that I've added some weight and I rode around on the street a little bit, it feels like this bike has taken its final form. Now, if you remember, this is a 160, 150 travel bike, and it was really lightweight and it climbed well, so it was unclear if this was a trail bike or an enduro bike. And now that I've added some weight, it feels pretty burly and it feels like an enduro bike now. So that's why I came out to Lake Leatherwood, about an hour from Bentonville. And this is the place where I actually tore the ligament in my thumb on the high-low season finale. And normally they run shuttles out here, but it's Thursday. It's actually my birthday today, and there's no shuttles. Actually, I don't see anyone out here at all, so I'm gonna have to take it really easy. But that also means I gotta climb to the top, so I hope these changes did not make it worse at climbing. Let's do it. Man, it's weird how you put on a front fender on a bike and the bike feels so much different, dude. But first impressions on the climb, I can definitely feel the weight, but I have a decent amount of low speed compression and it's still climbing really well. I can't feel any pedal bob either. And people say with a coil, you get pedal bob. I can see just a little bit, but I can't feel it at all. But the goal here, just like an enduro bike, is the downhill. So I'm gonna try to find a easygoing trail to start with. Just kind of feel out the suspension. All right, this one should be pretty chill. But man, that was a long climb, like 12, 15 minutes. I don't know how many of those I got in me. I haven't ridden here in so long, I kind of forgot where I'm going. Everything feels pretty smooth so far. Whoa. Maybe a little too much compression. Now I'm gonna dial back. 1 click there, 2 clicks there. I think there's a drop coming up. Oh yeah, I got this. Ooh, that was smooth. Bike handles it well, dude. Whoa. Bad line. I don't know where I'm going. Well, that went pretty good. I'm just gonna sit here and review footage now to check my suspension settings. Mid-run, I mean, I backed off the compression way more than Santa Cruz recommended. I need a little bit softer of a front end there. But man, if I was going to want to adjust the rebound of the rear shock, I mean, good luck getting to it. There's like almost no way that I could get to that. I did it in my garage and I had to use a literal metal pick to actually turn the thing and access it. I guess that's the price you pay for a fancy bike with a bunch of engineering. But I'm gonna climb to the top again, hit another run, and maybe find some more rock gardens this time. Well, that second climb went a lot better, dude. I didn't focus on filming at all. I just focused on the climb, and yeah, dude, it was pretty fast and still climbs very well. And if you know anything about gearing, I have a 36 tooth on the front. That's just what came on the O-chain. I bought it from my friend. And a 36, even on a mullet, is a pretty steep gear. So I'm pushing it, man. But man, this thing is so funny. I had to get off the bike and check if the front tire was flat because I backed off like a bunch of compression on the fork. And man, that is pretty cool to say. Like, that is so sensitive. I thought the front tire was flat. All right, this one is called DH5. A little bit more jumps. Whoa, yeah. Whoa, those are kicky from what I remember. Update on the brakes, they're working good. I trust them. Oh, that was smooth. Whoa, was not ready for that one. Well, that run went better, and backing off the compression on both the front and the rear helped a ton. This bike is ultra plush, dude. But I think I got one more run left in me. Actually, oh shoot, I should not say one more. I got another run left in me. And what do you say I go to the trail that I hurt my thumb on at the high-low season finale? See if I can conquer that on this Bronson. All right, is this on? They say the cameraman never dies, so here we go. Here it is, DH2. Man, that last climb zapped me, man. My legs are burning now.
Front end feels good, but not trying to jinx it. Oh yeah. Here comes a little bit of a drop. Yeah. Flying right now, let's go. All right, coming up here are some steppy little drops, and these drops hurt on those polygons. Oh, no problem, dude. Wow. Sweet, dude. All right, and this is where I went down and tore the ligament in my thumb. Right there. Not today. Yeah, this bike feels so good and composed that it almost feels like I've never ridden this trail before. I'm used to bumps and they're just not there. Well, I'm just not feeling them, I should say. Wow. Bronson is crazy.
I remember with the old suspension, when I hit bumps, the front and the rear end were totally decoupled from each other and would move in different directions, and that's why it felt so floppy and just sloppy. But this stuff, man, feels so good. And with Fox, I mean, I barely had to do anything. I was prepared, man. I brought a socket to take off the air cap for the volume tokens. I brought a shock pump. I was gonna do whatever it took to dial this in, but all I had to do was just back off the compression like they recommended. And I only went in one direction, and it feels really, really good now. So compared to Rockshox, man, I was just scratching my head, turning the knob this way, that way, adding air pressure, and that was a nightmare. So Fox really did a good job with this generation of dampers. So hats off to them. And man, what a better way to celebrate my 35th birthday than spend it with you guys, riding my bike, upgrading it, and just having fun. And man, it's been a great ride so far, and I hope to keep it going. This year has been going really good, and the next video might be a little bit different. I'm going to be doing it should be an Insta360 dedicated video, and just know that those videos really help support the channel and support these kind of builds. If you could just do me a favor and watch that. I know that action camera videos aren't as popular as the bike build videos, but just do me a favor. It'll be worth your while. You'll learn something and it will really help support the channel. I'm just really happy with how this bike is right now. This is by far the favorite bike that I've ever ridden to date, and I still got one more round of upgrades in me, and in the next video when I upgrade this bike, I'm going to reveal the final price. I don't even know myself right now, but I'm thinking it's a lot, yeah. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.